tag team division, first show of the month, you had Kid Cash and Dallas defending the NWA World Tag Team titles against the team of the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and the Cowboy James Storm.
So, like, not even by the standards of watching this a month ago, by how different the company feels from this first show, this feels like a decade and a half.
Yeah, because like most of this match is Dusty stalling, Dusty being Dusty as the crowd goes nuts for him standing still, which, you know what, if you can do that, you can do it, but it doesn't make the most compelling watching it like 18 years after the fact.
Also, Dusty Rhodes, an official member of America's Most Wanted.
Yeah, American Dream's Most Wanted.
Good stuff. I mean, it's fun to see these all together. I'm sure it was wild for James to get to tag with Dusty.
Yeah, so Dallas hits Storm with a pipe, allowing Cash to roll him up to retain.
I found it very weird that I called James Storm James instead of Storm.
You're on first name terms with him. It's fine. Your buddy Cowboy James.
I didn't like it. It didn't phonetically flow. No, James. James and Chris, not Storm and Harris.
Yeah, Wildcat and Cowboy. So despite Storm losing that match, they immediately got a title match as AMW reunited to defeat Kid Cash and Dallas and become NWA World Tag Team Champions. I do like the whole story here. Like, Dusty does a promo about how Cash and Dallas called themselves one of the best tag teams in the world, and he looked at like the space encyclopedia, which is kind of how he frames it, like, of all the wisdom in the galaxy, daddy, and he could not find Kid Cash and Dallas's name in this best tag team space encyclopedia. So I like the story that like they called themselves the best tag team for ages because AMW weren't in the division, and the second AMW were in the division, they beat them for the titles.
Which, like, I guess makes sense a little bit because you're like, you know, Dusty and Storm were more of a special attraction than the actual best team in company history.
So an important note here, randomly, out of nowhere, AMW have decided to start wearing their old ring gear.
I didn't even notice the difference, if I'm being honest.
It's the gear they wore in like early 02 and like start of 03 maybe, and they haven't worn it for the best part of a year.
Yes. I know what you're talking about now, because when they really started, I thought when this is not your fault, this is a Mike Tenay thing for me. He refers to the entrance gear as gear, and that confuses me because I think of the wrestling gear as gear.
Not the jackets. It's just the jackets.
I think of that as like entrance gear. So yeah, I thought you meant like their tights were different or something, but yes, I get what you mean now. Like their original like jackets and hat.
The Storm is wearing the hat and the black jacket, and Harris is wearing that like red and black shiny jacket he has that they haven't worn in ages, but they're wearing to set up this angle with
No, they're wearing it because they had to go back to their roots to win the tag titles, Garrett.
Of course, storytelling. So yeah, Dallas gets crotched in the ropes, Harris rolls him up. 4-time champs.
The last time ever, I'm sure.
So they did this gimmick where they had a poll on the website to determine who would face AMW in their first tag title defense. And the three options were the NYC, Triple X, and Cash and Dallas. And even though they knew Daniels was already injured when they started the poll, Daniels won, Triple X won.
Maybe they were really thinking that the NYC fans were going to come out in droves.
They would rally.
I mean, if I was voting.
Cash and Dallas fans would come out. Like, Kid Cash is being held down by this horrible AJ guy.
Maybe they were just like hoping that Cash would log in many a time and just keep voting for himself.
He'd hack the website.
Yeah.
So AMW, instead of facing Triple X, who was the number one team, the skipper announced Daniels would be out for 4 to 6 weeks. They would face the number 2 option, which was the NYC.
And then they had like the goal to have this highlight video later on in the month of all the cool tag teams in the division, which, by the way, there was like 3 good ones in it. And they put Triple X in there. I'm like, fuck you, they haven't wrestled in like 3 months.
Yeah, because they had Triple X, they had the Naturals, they had Team Canada, and they had AMW.
No, they didn't have the Naturals.
Oh yeah, they didn't include the Naturals, even though it was before a match featuring the Naturals.
Yes, because I remember I kept looking at it going, okay, when are the Naturals going to come up? And then they didn't.
Yeah, and they had Team Canada. So they had like 3 actual teams, and then they're like Miyamoto and Nasawa, Sonny
the NYC,
Sonny Siaki, and Irish Pat Kenny.
And I remember like one of them being like, now, you may not like them, but you can't deny the NYC's in-ring ability. And I'm like, can't I?
Oh, and in this backstage segment, so Skipper was just talking, and they did like a dramatic zoom in on his abs. Where they're like zoomed into his abs and like panned up to his face. It's like, listen, I get it, his abs are very
Premier
good.
athlete.
I like Don on commentary. It's like, AMW must be absolutely delighted they're facing these nerds instead of Triple X.
I mean, he said basically the same thing in the Naturals match too.
So Trinity tried to interfere, Desire evened the odds. Harris pinned Gilberti with a spear. Then we had more NYC nonsense afterwards.
NYC.
There's lots of NYC nonsense. So Cash and Dallas are off doing their own thing. This is AMW's division now. So Impact, Monty Brown squashed Sonny Siaki as AMW watched on from the ramp because they have a title match coming up against Monty and
I'm
Abyss.
into the Monty and Abyss tag team in theory, but then the match was pretty meh.
I really liked that match.
I thought it was kind of meh.
This was one of the very few matches this month that I was actually like, you know what, I'm on board. I enjoyed this match.
You think maybe it's because it's a bunch of people you enjoy?
Well, no, because the crowd were hot, the crowd were into it, they had a good match, and then the Naturals came out to cause a DQ, because of course. But yeah, I thought it was a good match. I don't know what to say, Liam. I thought the good heat, good action, good near falls, good wrestling.
Man, you're allowed to.
I get it. You hate Abyss. You were like, Abyss shouldn't be doing things. They should have taken him out of that other tag match against D'Lo and AJ.
Yeah, if Kid Cash was in this. Wow.
So yeah, Naturals interfered to cause a DQ. The Naturals are on the gut check list, so they're super mad, and then they stole AMW's ring gear. They stole the jackets.
I don't want to talk about each individual fucking beatdown from the Naturals, but I just wanted to say that I really liked all of them. I thought they came in with intensity. I thought they were really interesting. I was really into the Naturals AMW builder on this.
Which is funny because you sent me a message last night, which I think was during the Trial K match, where it was Naturals and David Young against Trial K, where you were like, I'm bored and the Naturals are on my screen.
That's before they stole clothing and started beating people up. What do you want from me? Well, yes, but I think what I failed to take into account was that the 3 Live crew were also on my screen.
Yeah, that's fair.
I did not beware.
They are coming for you.
It's a remix.
You didn't miss the It's the Remix. Well done.
So I better remember now. Drilled into my head.
So they stole the ring jackets. Next episode of Impact, the Naturals are facing Sanjay and Sabu, but AMW jumped them before the match. They brawl for a little while.
Every time, I forget which one is wearing James Storm's gear. Andy Douglas.
Andy? I think it's Andy.
Whenever Andy Douglas wears the gear, I think it's James Storm. Because it's so big on him, it looks... I just like, oh, James Storm's attacking someone. I'm like, wait, no, he's attacking himself? And I go, oh, it's the Naturals.
So yeah, they had a little match. Sabu ran wild, but the Naturals beat Sanjay with the Natural Disaster. Great tag team finish, by the way. I love the Natural Disaster.
I'm into this. I'm into the Naturals. I hate to say.
Naturals jumped Sabu after the match, but then he made his own comeback.
Cool. The Naturals are like straight up like. And who are the bigger nerds? The Naturals or the Hot Shots?
The Hot Shots.
At this point, I'm not saying the future because none of the Naturals do get their due eventually.
I think just as human beings, Cassidy Riley is a more natural nerd than Andy Douglas. Next pay-per-view, June 23rd, AMW defend the NWA World Tag Team titles against Miyamoto and Nasawa. 2 men doing Great Muta tributes.
Yeah, well, you know, one of them will book him every time.
Nasawa should book AMW.
I mean, they're probably old enough that he'd get a push.
They hit the death sentence in this match. And then Mike Tenay acted like it has been decades since we've seen a death sentence.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even notice that they weren't using it.
Yeah, I get, like, they won the Dallas and Cash match with a roll-up, and I think they beat Swinger and Gilberti with a spear. So, they haven't used it, but also, it's like, it's been, like, probably 4 months since we've seen the death sentence, Mike and Don.
I mean, I guess that it was somewhat important, because I think Don said it, the last time they hit it was when it was off the cage.
No, we have 100% seen a death sentence since then.
Well, I'm saying that's what they told me, and I was like, is that true? I don't know.
There's absolutely been death sentences in the last year.
Are you saying Don West is lying to me?
Yes, Don is wrong. Sorry to say it, but he is.
Hashtag Don is wrong. Get it trending for Garrett.
They accidentally played Trial K's music as AMW hit the move. No idea what happened there. But Naturals jumped AMW after the match and then applied lipstick to try and embarrass them.
Okay, I like this beatdown. I don't know whatever subtext they're going for here, but I like. I thought it was a brutal looking beatdown, and like obviously say what you want about the whole lipstick thing, whatever. It is a powerful image to like mess someone up like that and have like their face, because it makes it really look like you've kicked the shit out of them. So I really thought it was a good beatdown, and I do like them doing it while wearing their clothes. I think that's a fun touch. I really like the build to this. Like I said, if this was just going to a one pay-per-view and everything was on the same show, I think I'd be into this as the tag team title match on the show.
It does build to probably the best match the Naturals ever have in July, so you can look forward to that.
I'm looking forward to July. Got Alex Shelley, got the Naturals getting the big tag title match.
He says before he knows I'll have to drag him kicking and screaming to actually watching it.
Maybe I'll catch COVID again, who knows?
Last show of the month, Hudson has AMW. They're going to get revenge for the Naturals. Storm begins talking about how his mom threw a stereo at him once.
I raised my hands to my mother and she's like, you better use them, boy, let's go.
You then had that feature you hated about all the fake teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't mind you showing me a feature on the tag division, just don't tell me how good the tag division is and then show me that lineup.
Yeah, they were like, Team Mexico, their team.
Are they?
Never competed for the tag titles, but they could be. They could.
But also, they barely show up anymore.
So we had the Naturals facing America's Most Wanted. The Naturals won with a roll-up for an upset win. AMW were like utterly shell-shocked that they lost this non-title match.
Yeah, I thought this was a nice little match. I like them like taking it to the outside, getting real classic AMW with it.
Probably not the best AMW match in the world. I preferred the Monty and Abyss match, even though you chastised me for such a thing. But listen.
Hey, you know what, Garrett? I don't care. So moving on. I was going to be like, hey man, you're allowed to be wrong sometimes. It's fine.
But then you like pulled out of it.
We're in the third hour, man. What do you want from me? It is currently 12:30 a.m.
That show ended with that big ass brawl, which AMW and the Naturals were part of.
Every time you say big ass brawl, I think you're going to like throw to the ECW big ass match. Bash.
Ooh.
Which we are not reviewing.